Do you like kite fishing? Have you ever wanted to learn how to rig your own electric kite rod setup yourself, not necessarily have to take it into a store to have it done? If you said yes, you came to the right place. Welcome to the Fish Blue Water channel, where all of our content revolves around action, adventure, and education. So this is basically a rigging video, tips, techniques, tricks that we're dedicated to showing you guys to hopefully teach you something and get you better at whatever topic it may be that you're interested in learning. So right here in the Bass Pro aisle, everything behind me, this is all dedicated to kite fishing. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys, which I'm going to grab as we're getting ready to basically put all of our terminal tackle together for the video, Black's outrigger clips. They actually make a pre-packaged set of 3 clips, and each clip is a different color for a reason. So when you're setting up your kite rod, you know, you can either go with 2 clips or 3 clips. Most of the, the skilled fishermen that kite fish a lot are going to have 3 clips on there. If you're more comfortable with starting out with 2, that's fine. But each of these clips are a different color because they all have a different size hole pre-drilled inside the clip that will allow a swivel that is on your braided line on your reel to either pass through that hole, depending upon where you are in the sequence of clips on your rod, or to be big enough to catch that hole to carry the clip out with your fishing line in it that obviously is going to suspend the bait in the water. So while this pre-packaging is great, the one thing that I'm not crazy about is the swivels and the snap swivel that they put in the packaging is not the greatest quality. So we're going to take you to another aisle in Bass Pro where I'm going to show you the swivels that I would recommend to make sure that the weathering, the salt air, if the kite's flying in a higher wind condition, that you have terminal tackle making the connections between your braided line and attaching these via swivels to the kite rod is strong, solid, and the swivels are going to last. All right, so as the saying goes, you get what you pay for in life. And swivels are no different. Don't sleep on the swivels. They're important. They are the main connection a lot of times between you and the fish. So I have 100% confidence in this brand of swivels, Spro, S-P-R-O. And what's great about them is they're super strong for a relatively small size swivel. So you can see here, this is the smallest basically size swivel. That little guy right there is still an 80-pound swivel, 80-pound breaking strength. So then our second size, our second step up from there is going to be a 130-pound swivel, slightly bigger. That's going to be the swivel that needs to catch the second largest hole on those pre-drilled clips that I showed you before. And then our largest swivel is a 230-pound swivel. This will be the last swivel to catch the last clip on its way out as it's carrying the bait out. So basically, the first swivel to come off, as you'll see, is the smallest swivel, then the medium-sized swivel, and then the largest, carrying all 3 of those clips, and you'll be ready to fish. And lastly, we're going to need a ball bearing snap swivel. You don't have to use ball bearing, but it's a better quality, so that's what I recommend. This is an offshore angler, basically close to 100-pound ball bearing snap swivel. So that's going to be attached at the very end of our braided line where we make the final connection. This snap swivel will attach to the kite. So we've got our clips, we've got our snap swivel, we got our 3 swivels that we're going to need for the clips. I got the braided line at home, rod and reel at home. So now all we got to do is take you back there to get it set up. All right, guys, so we are done with the shopping at Bass Pro. Got the whole assortment of tackle that we need over here to my right on the table to demonstrate how to physically rig this kite rod yourself. So first off, just give you a quick heads up on what I'm using here. I have a few of these in my own personal collection of kite fishing rods. This is a Daiwa Tanacom electric reel. I think it retails for around 500 bucks. Got it on a beautiful custom Randy Towel rod. I believe this is a Winthrop tip up here, but this is an awesome tip just because it's completely rounded, no sharp edges on the inside, as you'll see from the camera. And the advantage of that is the hard angle of the line coming in and out of the tip of the rod. It alleviates any chances for the braid fraying, snapping off, losing your kite, your clips, all that stuff. So the first thing I'm going to talk with you about before we actually get into the rigging, because I think it's important to understand, is like spacing on the clips. So you saw at Bass Pro, I showed you the 3 different types of swivel sizes we're going to need to go with those pre-drilled Black's clips. Again, the Spro swivels, because they're just a better quality, stronger swivel. Spacing on clips just varies depending upon type of fishing you're doing, who you might talk to, what their personal preference is. But on average, I tend to see guys that will typically space their clips anywhere from like 75 feet apart. I would say maybe as far as 100 feet apart. I tend to typically like split the difference, and I'll go somewhere around 85 to 90 feet between each clip. And then from my last clip to my snap swivel that attaches to the kite, typically a little further than that, about 125 feet ballpark. First tip of the video, I'm going to show you right now. You'll see this already has a double line on it, bimini twist, which we have a video in the gallery to show you how to tie a bimini twist. And if I were to pull this line further out or attach a snap swivel right to it with the clips, you'd find on a video that there's already a full set of swivels and clips that I took off of this. What a lot of guys will do is, as a safety mechanism, is the extra braid that you have on the spool, if you already have another set basically of pre-spaced swivels deeper into the spool, to where as soon as you come off of your last set, you're starting another set of swivels. What that does for you is, let's say you're out fishing, you got some electricity in the air, something happens, kite breaks off, you lose all your clips and you lose all your swivels at a certain point, or part of your swivels. If you already have swivels deeper in your spool that you've preset for another set, and you have a spare set of clips on your boat, which is part of the tip, you can be back up and fishing in a matter of minutes, because all you need to do is slide those pre-drilled clips right back on your line, tie on another double line and a snap swivel, attach a kite, and you're ready to go, because you already have extra barrel swivels, the 3 different size for the 3 different size clips, ready to rock and roll. So that's the first tip. Now let's get to what the video is all about, which is basically how to get this all set up. So the first thing we're going to do is grab these snap swivels out of the bag and the clips. So get ready. All right, so if you've paid attention in the video already, you're probably saying like, Jamie, you just said these were pre-drilled. Why are you drilling a hole in the clips now? If you stay tuned and watch the video long enough, got a really cool, super secret tip I'm gonna share with you as to why I'm drilling these holes. All right, so I got the clips drilled with those small holes that we'll talk about later. Next up is to start attaching the swivels. So we have 3 different size swivels, large, medium, small. And remember that the largest swivel is the last to come off the clip, because it needs to be able to catch the largest hole in the back or on the last clip as the clips are going out. So smallest needs to come out first so it can pass through that large hole, the medium hole, and then catch the small hole on its way out. And middle second, largest last. So what that means in reverse order as we're rigging it is the largest swivel is the first that needs to go on the reel because it's going to be the last to come off the reel. So we're going to go ahead and take this, I believe it's a 280-pound Spro swivel. We'll have that referenced all in the description down below for you. This is doubled up, so I'm going to probably just do about 8 wraps on a standard fisherman's knot for this braid, which is 80-pound braid. Otherwise, on a single line, I'd probably go maybe 10 or 12 just to make sure there was no slippage on the actual braid. Pull that down. Talking about braid, you can go with different size braid as well. Some guys might drop down to as light as like 50-pound if they got really light winds. All the way up to 80-pound is pretty standard. You got wintertime coming up, breezier conditions. I had 80 in the garage, so that's what we're going with. All right, so this 80-pound braid, now I'm going to take it off this spool. I'm going to attach it to the other side of the swivel. As far as your measurements are concerned, with measuring your distances, which I talked about is 90 feet. Like Bass Pro, for example, does sell basically like a counter that you could physically attach to like the tip of this rod, clamp it on, where the line runs through it, and as it's passing out, as it's pulling through, it'll tell you how many feet actually are passing through the counter. I'm kind of a simple guy, old-fashioned way. For simplicity for this, I'm just going to use arm lengths and basically look at an arm length as 6 feet of line, okay? Just get myself a nice wrap on each end, just pull down nice and slow. And that's not going anywhere. Unless you get some static electricity like I was talking about before, or something like that. Or maybe if you haven't checked your swivels, they get a little corroded, the swivel breaks, etc., etc. All right, so this is my last clip, which I said I'm going to want 90 feet of space between my clips. So that's basically 15 arm lengths, right? 15 times 6 is 90. I think my math is correct. 1, 2, 4. All right, so I got to 15 arm lengths, which means I'm close to 90 feet. And I'm ready for my next swivel, which is going to be that mid-size swivel. Go ahead and do the same thing. About 10 or 12 wraps. Slide down, just want to make sure that you pull any of that excess back up so it doesn't overlap on you. That's good. Now I'm just about ready for my next section of line, but because we're outside and it's a little windy, and I'm not using electricity outlets and stuff, which is certainly could be done with this, but for demonstration purposes, I thought this would be better for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and crank this up so we don't get too much braid on the ground. And then once we get to that swivel, we'll carry on. pair of little scissors like this is a must also for trimming. All right, so we've got the braid attached to the second swivel, so we need another 90 feet now. All right, we're there. Means we're going to trim that and attach the last swivel, which is the smallest swivel. Also the hardest to see with old guy eyes. You'll feel it cinch down in there good. You'll know you're good to go. All right, so we got another 90 feet on, swivel to swivel. Got to crank this up. And then the last attachment is going to be our 125 feet to get us to our ball bearing snap swivel. We like to keep it real here at Fish Blue Water. I knew I was going to be cutting it close, but we'll find out whether I was cutting it too close or not. So I need about 125 feet of braid right there for the distance I want. If not, for the video's purposes, we'll just pretend like it's 125 feet. And I'll have to retie that at a later time. Let's go ahead and get this last knot on here. Flip off our tag in. Now, let's see what we got here for, so on 6 foot, I'd want around 20 to 21 of these. I was almost that good. That's only about 14 arm lengths, so 14 times 5 is 70. Definitely shorter than I would want it to be. Some guys might say, screw it, just gonna tie it on anyways. But I would like to at least be at 100 feet. If it was at 100, I would have probably let it go, but I'll probably retie that at some point. Let's go ahead and get that on the line though, or on the spool of the reel first. All right, so we're ready to slide the clips on. And then we can tie a double, attach our snap swivel, and pretty much be ready to go. Remember I said, largest clip comes off last. So it's got to be the first to go on. This white clip, largest clip first because it's the last one to come off, right? This is important. A lot of people make the mistake of putting the clips on backwards when they're rigging their kite. The clip opens like this. That basically horseshoe-shaped metal wire, snaps in and out of the clip. And it has to open towards you because your rods are going to be coming and running through this clip. If the clip is opening away from you, as you get tension on the line, the clip won't open. It opens by pulling back towards against the clip. That pressure is what allows the actual clip to open up, okay? So we want to make sure we have the clips oriented so that they open towards you and not away from you. We're going to go ahead and run that right down the line like so. Next up is my middle clip. I don't have it with me, but also if you already had like the line tied with a double, a rigging needle with just an open end on it would be a very helpful tool for you guys in this process, where you can just run the rigging needle right through those holes very easily with the line, the double loop attached to the end of the rigging needle. Just keep that end wet though. It makes the line a little bit more taut, easier to work with. So I got my clips on. Small swivel is going to come out first, pass through that large hole, the middle hole, catch the small hole, carry it out. Medium swivel through the large, catch that, carry it out, and then finally the largest and last swivel is going to be big enough to catch that hole and carry that out. So now we're ready to tie ourselves a double on this. Just going to set the clips there for now. And because I'm going to retie this, I'm just going to do a simple double for a little overhand uni or whatever they call it, for time purposes. But if I was to really do this the ultimate way, I would put a bimini twist on this, which again, there's a video on how to do it on the channel. For this simple little guy, just going to go through this, made a loop, go through that a half dozen times, pull it tight, and we'll be good to go. Both ends of your tag end pulled together. Now when you pull on a double also, it's important to get it even. And you always want to wrap and pull from the single line so you know you're getting an even pull on your knot, okay? Cut that. Trim off the excess. This is that, I believe it's 130-pound offshore angler swivel that we bought in the store. But again, I'll put that in the description for you. And through. Again, pulling from a single end, get an even pull. Grab my pliers to get a good grip on that. Keep my pliers on it. It's nice and tight. And that is ready to attach to your kite and go kite fishing. Now, I promised you, if you watch the video all the way to the end, right? I was gonna tell you what these little pre-drilled small holes were for that I put together, so bring it on in and let me show you. All right, so we drilled those tiny little holes in there. Everybody should know what this is. It's just copper rigging wire. We're gonna take that copper rigging wire, we're gonna go right through that hole, okay? And then I'm just gonna take the copper rigging wire. I'm gonna do some haywire twists, a couple barrels, just like a standard wrap you do on, I got more than I needed, but standard wrap that you do on any wire fishing rig, right? Now, how does this become effective? Okay, so why did we do this? Here's the tip, guys. So obviously kite fishing, the kite is basically carrying with the wind, blowing away from the boat. Well, these clips, if it's really windy, guess what can happen? The wind can easily, in front of the swivel, blow that clip up the kite to where it wants to start lifting your baits out of the air and make things a lot more difficult from a fishing perspective. So we pre-drill this hole, as now I can take this tag line right in front of the clip, right? And I can just, with just a couple of small barrel wraps around that, look what I've accomplished. I mean, I'm putting a good amount of pressure on that right now, and this clip will not slide up. So that is a quick and easy way as you're getting your kite bait up, your bait set. If you're worried about the wind, if you've got a little too much wind and you think they're gonna blow up, got these little tag lines on, a quick wrap around. And the good thing is, when you bring this back in, the force of the line coming back through the reel will allow this to just easily unwrap on its own, and the line keeps just going right onto the reel. So that is your pro tip of the video today. Hopefully you were smart enough, wise enough to stick around and learn something new. That's what we try to do here, action, adventure, education at Fish Blue Water. So all the details are in the description down below. Some links to the Bass Pro products as well. We'll see you for the next Fish Blue Water video.